from $29,900. That comes from Dave Smith in Idaho to a high of about $32,165. The vehicle from Dave Smith is a 2019 Chevy Colorado. The vehicle from Helena Motors is a 2018 new Toyota Tacoma, and then that was $32,165. And then the vehicle from Robert Allen Nissan is a 2019 Nissan Frontier, and that's about $30,100 plus fees, and it looks like the fees would bring it up to about $31,000. So we're looking at similar costs. Dave Smith was the lowest cost, but that doesn't include any transport to and from to pick up that vehicle. So we're looking at a total, let's see, I'm sorry I didn't do this math. Looking at a total request to spend about $46,115 out of the CIP. Leaving us $51,678 in the mosquito CIP.
Mary, have you looked at slightly used trucks?
No, she hasn't, and that's because of inventory. I had asked her to put this together a couple months ago when we were starting our planning discussion. So we can certainly look at what's out there right now locally for used inventory. That's fine. I'm sure there are plenty of things out there. What I liked about a new vehicle is just the warranty that you get with it, in case there are any issues.
I understand right now that there's been real slow sales for new vehicles,
Mm-hmm.
but I would like to see a comparison of
Okay.
used.
You bet.
Yeah.
You bet. Okay.
Did she get bids on the sprayer, or is there only one person that provides?
No, it's mainly just Adapco that provides that. And they have all of that equipment in stock. And, you know, we could get it within a week, but she didn't want to order anything until we had a vehicle for the installation on that.
How tough do you think, what kind of expense is gonna be involved in installing a new fogger?
Installation is included in that
Oh, yes?
price?
Okay.
Yes, it
Okay.
is.
What kind of shape is the truck you got now?
You know, it's something that if we don't need it for some other department, I don't know that it would satisfy anything that I need in roads right now. I am going to have to look at, we have a 3/4 ton Chevy pickup that we've been sinking some money into, and I don't want to throw good money after bad any longer with that. We're having some issues with it again. So I need something mainly to carry a fuel tank. It's obviously at least a 1/2 ton. Could it work for roads? You bet. We could put a fuel tank in the back of that. So otherwise, we would look at selling it on the public auction site. And then I have had an inquiry, and Jessica has too, about the fogger unit. So we do have, that would also go on the public auction site, but we have had some interest in the unit that we have right now. So those could be sold.
You have a question?
Yes, so for the mosquito truck, only pertaining to it, for the fogger, how many miles do you guys figure you drive a year with that truck for mosquitoes?
You know what, I can't even tell you right now, Alan, I don't know. Because we don't necessarily, we know the areas that we go, but we haven't tracked mileage or anything on that.
Because I guess, you know, depending on how much it's used, maybe a brand-new vehicle may not necessarily be
Right, and,
feasible, economically
right,
feasible
and I agree,
for sitting in, then lot rot, could take out
Right,
a new one just as
right.
well as I can an old one.
yeah, I agree. I just had her look at new vehicles, like I said, because the inventory of used vehicles changes so much. There's more fluctuation in that than the options that are out there new right now.
Oh, right.
So it just made more sense to me to give me a number that, you know, would be a top, the most expensive. What is our most expensive option that we would look at? Not that I want the most expensive.
Well, no, I see, I was just
So, yeah.
curious about
Yeah.
how much it's actually used, or
Yeah.
is it used within other departments also?
No, because it has the fogger on it. The fogger is attached, you know, it's installed in the bed of the pickup. So it's not something that we would use for anything else. So, so I can look at, if you'd like me to, I can look at used vehicles and bring that to the,
Well, I think we know that, you know, used vehicle, I mean, well, at least we know what your, the top,
mhm,
I mean, you know, what, the most amount you would ever spend.
right,
And you're well within your CIP.
yes,
I think if we can find an appropriate used vehicle or whatever that gets the needs,
okay,
you know.
Okay.
Whatever, I guess whatever we decide.
all right,
The main thing is it's in the budget to
yes.
do that. so.
Yes, we do have the money in the budget to do that. And I don't foresee any other expenditures from the CIP other than, it'll go along with one of my next topics. So, yeah,
Okay.
so,
Mr. Chairman, if we could go back to solid waste for when Mike Castleberry left a letter with concerns. Whether you want to address those or have Mary take care of it.
This is in respect to your solid waste, in respect to the impending changes being made to rural solid waste deposit sites in Raidersburg, Dawson, and Winston. Have any considerations been given to or accommodations been arranged for accessibility for Americans with disabilities? These changes that are being proposed will make it much more hazardous for me and others like myself to dispose of our waste by having to walk and carry it much further. Are there going to be physical barriers placed 10 feet or more in front of the dumpster so vehicles can't drive up to the canisters as before? If so, why was that detail withheld from the public? Places of public accommodations, commercial facilities should use the 2010 ADA standards for accessible design for readily achievable barrier removal, new constructions and alterations. Will the commission comply with these federal regulations? Please respond in writing to the address below by June 1st, 2019 when these effects are to take effect, or I will file a complaint with the ADA. Mike Castleberry.
okay.
Mary, I'll give that to you. I think.
Okay, thanks. All right, so mosquitoes.
I have a question,
Okay.
if I may, on larviciding.
Mhm.
So last year, the FWP took over the
Mhm,
ponds,
Right.
and didn't get the larviciding done. I think it was a timing issue.
mhm.
So what is the plan? I know we offered to take it over again, and they're gonna keep it. What's our plan for larviciding? You said there's gonna be a little bit more concentration on that.
Yes, so I do know that Jessica talked to them, and basically, if we want to larvicide there, we can,
Okay,
yes.
all right.
So she's at Carroll College today talking about larviciding and then mosquito trapping and analysis. So, and then she and I, just because of things that have gone on with both of us, we haven't had the chance to sit down together to put our plan together. And our plan is to do that this week and get it done.
all right.
So, yes, but I think addressing the issue from larviciding, from the having more of a focus on larviciding than we did last year will better address the issues this year. So,
That's excellent, thank you.
mhm,
And that's all I have on mosquitoes.
okay.
Dave, what's next?
Okay. So the next thing is, I've been looking at some software. I've been looking at kind of how we function in roads overall, trying to figure out costs for what it, what does it cost us to do? What does it cost us to function over there? And talking to several different counties about some software that they use, I looked at, really, there's only two providers out there. What you see is option 1 and option 2. I did not give you the provider name. They both provide the same sort of thing. Basically, what I want to know is, where do we go? How much time do we spend out there? What do we do when we're out there? Where are our culverts at? Where are our signs at? And as far as, when do we do our preventative maintenance? What sort of work do we do when we do our preventative maintenance? There are software applications out there that allow us to do this. They will both also give us a GIS component that allows us actually to develop a map layer so that we know where all these features are, where we've been, where the issues are with the roads. So it's something that I would like because I think it would better justify, changes, purchases that we need for the road department. So I looked at these options. As you'll see, the core software, the price varies between these two. We need the core, obviously, to get these other functions. Asset management is included in option 1. It's an additional cost for option 2. Fleet maintenance is an additional cost for both of them. The GIS map viewer component is included in option 2, but it is there is a cost associated with that in option 1. Setup and training is $900 for option 1, included in option 2. The mobile app, there is a cost for that for option 1, but it's included in option 2. The total cost for option 1, if I was to purchase it today, is $9,400. The total cost for option 2 is $4,500. Now each of these come with an annual renewal support cost. So after a year, option 1 would cost us $1,880 a year. Option 2 would cost us $4,500 a year. So to get a better handle on what this is going to cost us 5 or 10 years down the road, the 5-year cost for option 1, and this includes the original purchase and the annual cost, is $16,920, whereas option 2 is $22,500. And then again, I did that for a 10-year cost on the original purchase, and the annual fee is $26,920 for option number 1, and option number 2 is $45,000. So my request today to you is to expend, especially since we're coming into a new fiscal year, July 1st, expend some money from the road budget. I do have it available to purchase one of these programs.
So, in talking to your, I'm gonna say your other public works directors around the state,
Mhm.
that have some, that are familiar with these programs,
Mm-hmm.
which ones have they had the best success with?
Option 1,
Option 1?
yes. Option 1 is the one that I've seen most in Montana. Option 2, I actually only found out about them at Mackers in April.
Mm-hmm.
And it was only one other county right now. that I'm aware of. They did tell me, though, they just sold it to the city of Glendive. So, or Dawson County. But other than that, everyone that I've spoken to utilizes option one. It's the best fit for that. The mobile app, I think, would be great to have, but it's something that could be added later to that package.
Is there a
And
limit to the number of mobile phones or mobiles?
no,
So it's unlimited, so
right,
everybody could.
Correct.
Who could have those.
yes. And I would like that for, right now my road foreman has a smartphone, so as long, and one of the operators, they both have a smartphone. The other guys don't. They have a dumb phone. But, their Android or iPhone, they could both use that.
They could pull up a lot of this data from their.
Yes, they could, and they could enter it. One thing that option one provides that option two does not is option one allows us to put in our timesheets. And if there was a way that we could interface with Black Mountain, I don't know if we could right now, but I like that because what that does is, it tells me how much time they are on a certain road.
I could see that would be helpful in some of your grant stuff. Because
Yes.
That's a challenge to track that.
Yes,
for
it is.
Grant reporting.
And they actually in their literature talk about how they support the FEMA grants. And it would have been very helpful,
Yeah.
so, yeah.
And I know sometimes using demo software is, have you had a chance to do any?
I have demoed both of them.
Have you?
Yes, I have. And they're both pretty much the same. Option two is actually set up more for pavements, more so than gravel roads. So looking at it, and I liked it, I like the features, I like both of them. It would just be a little more clunky, if I can use that as a word. It would just be a little more difficult to try to set that up for gravel and have we would have to go in and identify various elements with our gravel roads that are already built into the option one.
Is this a system you can work with solid waste too?
I could for the fleet, or the asset management, I could, and fleet maintenance.
You could use that also for mosquito and weeds.
Probably, yes.
Yeah, I think any tool that can help you do a better job and help, everybody understand the overall picture, I think is an asset to the citizens.
Mhm.
So will they come here and help train you then?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. So it does, the setup and training is, yes, for them to be on site to do that. It's pretty user-friendly. I did use it up in Great Falls when they were up there.
With the mobile app, I would think, just my opinion, but I think you'd be wise to get it. And if it turns out you guys really don't use it, then cancel it.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I think the potential for it to be a valuable tool
Mm-hmm.
is well worth the investment.
Yes, okay.
And the option one folks have been around for a while.
I'm sorry?
The option one.
They have,
they've been-
yes, they have been
Not
around
leaving
for,
town tomorrow
right,
after we purchase it.
correct. I do have their address.
I see this a lot like the Zergo program that you guys have, and kind of running a parallel, how much that has helped with what you guys do, law enforcement,
Oh, okay.
with what
Uh-huh.
you'll be doing
Okay.
with road maintenance and
Mhm.
solid waste and things. Yeah,
Well, if the guys tell me it costs X amount of dollars to grade a mile of road, well, how do they know that? I don't know how they know that right now. They have, I don't have any information to validate that assertion. And this would give me that that data.
Well,
It'll
it'll be the same with your vehicle maintenance costs.
Yes.
All that
Yeah.
stuff, you'll have that information to back it up.
Yes. And if we do, you know, I know you have talked in the past about having a fleet management. If we do something like that, it's there.
Yeah. The only thing that I know, and I've had experience with this, is that it does take time to input the data, so I mean,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I have to plan on that. A lot of times, once you get the database built, it's quite a bit easier, but
Mm-hmm.
but you just have to plan time
Right,
to do that, so you
Right.
do have to manage the system.
yes.
The other thing, this will help us with the plan we are working on with planning, with the RIDs for new subdivisions.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
So, yeah, I think this is a good investment.
Okay.
And I think in the long run, it's gonna save money.
Okay.
So I'll move that we support Mary in the purchase of option 1 as presented.
Is there a second?
Is that something you wanna do here fairly soon, Mary?
It is.
Right.
Yes, I would like to get this and have it, you know, have it online before July 1st.
Second.
Yeah, I'll second the motion.
Motion been made and seconded to approve the purchase of option 1 cost for the software management, fleet management, map viewer, setup and training mobile app for a cost of $9,400 with an annual renewal of $1,880. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, same, motion carries.
Thank you. All right, so as you know, kind of been hitting around about maybe building a new shop for roads. You know, one thing that we experienced this winter because of the snow and the cold were some issues related to the graders. We had some service that was required on every grader, actually, because of the snow, the density of the snow, just the sheer amount of snow that we had, combined with the cold temperatures. And, you know, one thing that I've realized is we spend, you know, 300 to, you know, we have a huge investment in equipment there. We have 4 road graders. Let's say they're $350,000 a piece. We're looking at $1.4 million worth of equipment there that's left outside year-round, especially in the wintertime. And the guys, I don't have anywhere that we can pull a grader in right now to work on it. Any of the repairs that they had to make this winter were done outside in the cold, and it was 21 below when they were doing this. So what I would like to look at is, I'd at least like to start looking at a new shop and work with Sean to at least develop a bid package for a new shop. And I talked to him a little bit. We could do it a couple of different ways. We could specify the sort of building that we wanted and lay it out, or we could specify that any bidders would come to us with their proposal as far as the layout. What I would like is a building large enough to at least get the 4 graders in there. I have talked to Jessica about weeds and mosquitoes, having space there for weed and mosquito vehicles as well as chemical. Having offices there, so Public Works would be in that building, along with weeds and mosquitoes, and roads, and eventually solid waste. Having a space big enough to have a meeting room down there, if we needed that. Having showers for weeds and mosquitoes, and laundry facilities for weeds and mosquitoes. And I couldn't even tell you right now what a rough estimate of that would be. More than what I have in the CIP. So what I would be looking at is a loan. So if I can, I did not want to begin that process without getting your approval, to at least take a look at it, take a serious look at it. And I would look at moving, we have the blue building down there. What I would like to do, actually, before I get ahead of myself, is have Sean come out and we'll walk the property at the shop to see what space we have available, what we need to get rid of, what we could keep. Right now, where we park our pickups, that is a metal building. It's a freestanding metal building. It's not really attached to the old building that we have there. That's a building that we could keep there, or we could move it towards the back and use that for storage as well. It does have, we can fit our 4 pickups in there, or, I'm sorry, 5 pickups in there. Or we can fit 4 pickups and the snowplow in there right now, which is what we normally do. The building is not insulated, but you know, we store a number of things in there besides our vehicles. We have signs. We do have some other things that need to be moved out of there because we're not properly storing it right now. So I'd like to see that done. But this would give us an opportunity to have a place to get our equipment out of the weather and give, you know, all my guys the space that they need to work on their equipment, whether it's to do the preventative maintenance or to change out parts or what have you. So I'd like to at least begin that discussion and work with Sean to develop some bid documents.
All right. So have you developed a list of some of the needs you think that you will, out of this new building?
Yes.
That'd be the first thing you need
Yes.
to do,
Yeah.
talk about that with Sean.
Mm-hmm. I sent him kind of just a rough drawing of what it was that I was looking at. What I would like. I'd like a metal building with, you know, I don't know what you would call it, but additional storage on either side of it that is at a lower pitch than the main roof over the building.
Outside?
Yes, on the outside. That we could have as storage for, you know, weed and mosquito chemical, other, you know, our signs, all of our road signs and other items that we use. So,
Do you have a comment, Shirley?
Do we have an inventory of what we really own and what we lease as far as that equipment? I don't think we own any graders, do we?
we own it, yeah. We don't lease
You might want
anything.
to check.
We don't lease anything. No, I do know that.
Yes, Al?
So, I guess depending on what you're thinking your requirements would be, because you guys still have that old Forest Service building, don't you? The frame?
Yeah, but you can't, that thing's got so much, I believe it's asbestos and formaldehyde in it that you can't reuse the metal.
Okay,
And with
Not
Jeff
for a
Stewart's
public
supposed to be
building.
putting it up.
It's a public building, and we won't be able to do that.
well, right, I didn't,
Right,
yeah,
yeah.
if it's contaminated, then you just ship it up to Pacific and let them have it, huh?
Well, and it's not big enough to suit our needs.
Yeah, because I don't know how some people do business as far as with heavy equipment, but I've been around a lot of heavy equipment in my life, and, you know, unless you plan on all your equipment going down at one time, looking at it as cost savings for taxpayers, you know, if you have a two-bay shop, so you can put your grader, dozer, whatever your biggest equipment may be, biggest and tallest, like I said, unless your maintenance is so bad that your equipment just keeps breaking down at random, you plug them in with adequate heaters, 60 below zero, you know, I mean, unless they're.
We plug our graders in outside
So that
right
should be,
now.
I mean, you know,
It
as
does
far as,
not,
right, but I mean, as far as,
right.
put a 4-grader building where you put your dump truck and loaders and all this other stuff, you know, shoot, you're crowding a lot of money
I realize
for this
that.
community.
I realize that. But our community is growing and I'm trying to plan for the future as well.
Well, you can plan, okay. I mean, I don't know, I mean, equipment, I mean, you can go to any equipment construction company, and they can kinda help you out on your equipment, can sit outside for 30, 40, 50 years. And another comment maybe on your mosquito, since it only drives just for mosquito, maybe you could convert that from gasoline over to propane. That way you don't have fuel problems since it's never used a couple months out of the year.
Mary, I would be curious to see what some of the options would be.
Okay.
So I would suggest that you proceed.
Okay.
Be my 1/3
All right,
on that.
okay.
We really can't have a discussion till we know what we're
Okay,
talking about.
all right. That's fine, as long as I have your approval to proceed
Yeah,
with
we
those
need to-
discussions with
need to-
Sean.
Need to take a look at it, I
Okay.
guess, and we'll go from there.
All right. And then, actually, I have one more item that isn't on here, but it's mainly just something I want to tell you. Road grader requests for bid. We have a road grader, our 140M, it's a 2010 140M, that I would like to replace. That particular road grader has about 4,500 hours on it. So right now, we can actually get some decent money on it, whether we trade it in or whether we put it out for public auction. That particular grader also has been in the shop more than any other piece of equipment that we have. You may have seen recently, I just submitted a claim on work that we did as a result of our snow this year for about $33,000, $33,000 or $34,000. That was to replace the brakes and the chains on that equipment. So what I would like to do is put together a request for bid to CAT and to John Deere to look at the cost of a new grader and put the 140M on the public auction site. I have had interest from outside people on that and let them know what our process was for getting rid of equipment. And talking to CAT, it is worth something, and it doesn't have so many hours that it's cost prohibitive to a contractor, for instance, if they bought it. So my proposal would be to sell it and to sell it with the wing attachment. They kind of jerry-rigged that wing to make it work for that grader, and I look at it and I'm concerned more for safety when they use that. So my request to you is to begin that request for bid process.
The front blade is okay? Or are you gonna get new blades?
I would get new blades,
New blades and a wing?
yes.
Do you have that in your CIP?
Yes, with what we have, based upon some just early calculations, it looks like it would be, with the trade-in or the sale of the 140M, it would be between $225,000 and $250,000. So with the, not SRS, what is it?
SRS that you just
SRS,
got?
yes.
Yeah.
That would give us enough to do that.
And historically, we've tried to use SRS specifically for
for
equipment,
equipment.
graders.
Mhm.
So, and you saw the email that you got back the sequestration.
Yes,
That's a nice surprise.
yes, it is nice, yes,
Yeah.
it is.
I'm good with that too, Mary.
Okay,
Obviously, a road crew can't work on roads without equipment.
right, yes. And I am concerned about that piece of equipment. I don't know if it's a lemon. You know, the issues that we've had with it, it has cost the county a lot of money in repairs. So I'd like to get out while the getting's good on that before anything else happens.
And on the flip side, maybe you fixed everything.
Right. I hope so.
Right. Me too.
Is it worth more as a trade-in or selling it outright, or do you know?
It's probably 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. I would put a reserve of 125,000 on it as the minimum, because I think it's worth that. And the trade-in would be dependent upon who, can you trade a cat grader to a John Deere dealer?
Sure.
Okay, all right,
They'll take it. So the one thing is though, you know, if you go out with the RFP, you won't be able to just limit yourself to Cat, John Deere. I mean,
right,
everybody else will still have an opportunity to bid.
right, yes,
So, you just have to ensure that your specification is what you want. and
Right.
Whether they meet or
yeah,
don't meet that specification is how you'll have to
yeah.
do it.
Yep, okay. And TJ and I did sit down and we looked at, you know, the offerings of, because we did test a John Deere grader a month or so ago. It was a 772, a little smaller, probably equivalent to a 140. I'd like an 872. If we went with the John Deere, that's what, I'd be looking at something the size of a 160M.
Yeah, are you gonna look at lease back or what do I wanna say?
Guaranteed buyback.
Guaranteed buybacks.
Yes.
Guaranteed buybacks, so I'm
Yeah.
looking at,
Mhm.
okay. So that'd be part of the proposal.
Yes,
Do
Hey,
all
and extent
all
was-
those dealers have that?
That's how you did it, yeah. It's just, it costs you a little bit more.
a lot of counties go that direction though, because
But
they
at
do
least you
have.
know, say if you get in trouble for whatever reason, then you can't, you have to sell that grader, at least you know what it's gonna be worth. You have that guarantee, what it is from between, it's 1 to 5 years. Or if you decide to trade it in, you know, if you make all this money, wanna buy a new fleet, then you know what it's worth. The other thing is extended warranty,
Yes,
that would be an important part of that.
yes.
So that all you have to do is preventive maintenance.
Right, and that's what we're looking at, and we're looking at the warranty that covers, you know, travel time, everything,
Yeah.
so,
All right, that's good.
okay. And one last thing, we talked about unpermitted approaches a couple weeks ago in a commission meeting. And one thing that I've been taking a look at are cost savings for culvert and how I can do that. And so I got some cost estimates from a couple different steel providers. And we can save about $2 a foot by buying a truckload of culvert. So I'd like to buy a truckload of 18-inch squash culvert, 20 and 30 foot lengths with some bands. It's going to be from $23,000 to $25,000 for that. But and I'm sorry I don't have the total length of what that would give us. But right now I think we pay about $18.39 a foot for 18-inch squash. When we go down and pick it up, we could get it delivered for $2 less a foot than that if we buy the volume
Mm-hmm.
like that. So it is something I'd like to do because I do have several approach permits on my desk. People are waiting for culverts. Culvert material, people can buy the culvert material from us at cost, at our cost. And this would, you know, be another incentive. Culvert is expensive. I don't know that people realize how expensive it is. But typically they'll need a 20 or 30 foot section, and in some cases 40. I have looked at a couple that are pretty large approaches, so,
I know 18 is our minimum culvert.
Yes.
Right,
yes.
so just driving around thinking, are we gonna need more than 18-inch diameter culverts?
In most cases,
Is that gonna pretty much fit most of the needs?
it'll fit the majority of our needs, yes, it will. Yeah, the ones that we've looked at in the south end of the county,
Mhm.
or, you know, down off of Lightning Burn, for instance, there are a couple that are large, but those are the exceptions rather than the rule,
Mhm.
so.
I guess I'm just thinking in my mind, would you wanna get a mixed load rather than just all 18-inch?
And I can certainly do that. The only thing I had them price me 18-inch round and 18-inch squash.
Right,
So I can certainly look at, because we could actually get more culvert on too.
well, you know, we're gonna have our trip on Wednesday, right?
Yes.
Maybe we'll kinda make a
Mhm.
mental note as we go around.
You bet. Okay. Okay. And the squash is preferable, because sometimes we don't have a lot of depth to be able to
Yeah.
put
You
an
don't need
18-inch
as much
round
cover
in.
either,
Right,
keep them collapsing.
yeah,
Okay.
yep. So,
Do we have larger culverts that we know we need, that we can put into this road?
yes, actually we do have a couple of places south and then, yeah, we do.
We might as well get those.
At the same time.
Might as well get stuff we're gonna need, we're gonna save $2 a foot.
Yes,
I agree, going purchasing always makes
Is,
sense.
Yes.
is the price saving the same regardless of the length, or the diameter? Are we saving $2 on all sizes, or are we?
you know, that's what I'll have to look into, Mike, because like I said, I only asked them for 18-inch round or 18-inch squash,
Okay.
so.
Will your forklift
What's that?
Will that forklift you have unload that
If the
truck?
forklift doesn't, the skid steer will,
Okay.
so,
All right,
yeah.
it'll be able to do it.
Yeah, and we have fork extensions, so,
Okay.
all right, okay. Do you have any other questions for me? All right,
No, good job,
thank you for
Thank
your
you.
time, I appreciate it.
absolutely.
All right.
See, Blackfoot, it did commission control of funds budget solutions.
That's at 1:30.
Oh.
It's up to you if you wanna break for lunch or,
Yeah, I'd rather break
Going
for
for it.
lunch.
Need a break.
okay.
Just saying.
Mike, are you guys breaking? Okay, before you guys go, I'll just give, we did a ammo order, I haven't got a single total price on it yet, but that'll be coming down, I'm sure it's gonna be fairly expensive. But we're getting down to having hardly any ammo in the locker, so, I think we got our ammo from Robert, Rocky Mountain. So we have that coming in, I don't know what it's gonna look like, but I'm sure it's gonna be in that, it's gonna be below the 5,000, but I bet it's probably over 1,500. So I would I'd take a gather to say that. The other thing we did is, I think we talked about 2 years ago, I wanted to get a couple 308 rifles, into the force. So we ordered, two, 308 AR-10 platform, rifles from True Value, from Robbie Sandberg down there. Those are one of our sergeants. Hence being is one, the AR-15, the 223 that we have. There's been lots of shootings where they don't penetrate through windows very well, and so, not that I'm in a hurry to shoot through windows at anybody, but if that time arises, we need to have something that's able to do so. And so, we are doing that. The other thing that we're gonna do is speak with, a lot of the guys have turned in their shotguns that we bought a few years ago. They're not using them, and so I'm gonna talk with a guy down in Utah and see if he will do a trade-in on those vanilla shotguns for the tactical Kevlar helmets. So I think we talked about that a while ago. I put in for a grant. I was not chosen for that grant, but we've had a lot of incidents here lately that involve firearms, and that's that one place that I haven't been able to protect. So I think they're about $350, $400 a helmet. So I think that maybe to trade in, we might be able to at least get the Patrol Division covered in a brain bucket to go that way. So just a couple things there that you'll see coming down the pipe. Like I said, I don't have a full number on them yet, but that's kind of where we're going with a couple of those things. Just want to let you guys know what's at the top of my head. So if there's any questions. Okay. So, hopefully, we bought a bunch of shotgun ammunition when it was on sale, and we have a whole bunch of it, so we'll probably see if that guy down in Utah, same guy we did with the Glocks, when we did the Glock exchange. We'll see if he's interested in taking those and that shotgun ammunition and give us a trade on the helmets, so, yeah.
Very good.
Okay.
Thanks, Wayne.
Thanks.
Can I ask you guys a question? You guys get a notice about a meeting with the DNRC and Forest Service June 3rd
I did
in
see that.
Helena?
Oh,
Okay.
did it Helena?
Yeah,
Is that for the Good Neighbor?
yes,
I thought it was in Missoula. Oh,
no,
maybe that's where it originated from.
could be.
That's where it came from,
Yeah.
okay.
So I just wondered if you guys were sending a representative up there to that meeting? Okay.
Yeah. Are you gonna go?
I don't know, we were not invited, so,
Would you like to?
well, we'll see how things go.
Okay.